Hey guys, Akhtar here. Welcome back in the office. And in this video, I'm going to show you the fastest way to make money through buying businesses. Now, here's what you're going to learn. I'm going to share with you three things that are really important. The first thing is the challenges of starting up a business. So if you're thinking of starting up a side hustle or starting a business from scratch, I want to share with you my model called the 4 phases of implementation, which is the hidden obstacles that entrepreneurs face when it comes to either starting a business or starting a property project or starting some kind of venture, or if you've got an established business and you're trying to take it to that next level and you break through those plateaus. And the third thing I want to show you is how you can buy ready-made businesses that are up and running, that are generating a 6 or 7 figure income for little to no money down, and why it's the best thing since sliced bread. So what qualifies me to teach you this stuff? Well, look, I've been involved in entrepreneurship for 30 years, and for the last 20 years, I've been involved in real estate. I've had several other businesses, but for the last 3 years, I've been involved in mergers and acquisitions, which is buying companies, forming a group of businesses with my business partner, and that's where we're going. And that's what I want to share with you. I'm also the co-author of Play the Game and the author of the Code Reaching Excellence. I'm the founder of the Reaching Excellence Wealth Academy. So I've mentored thousands of people over the years, and I think I know a thing or two. So I want to share that with you. Now look, it's my personal mission to help every man, every woman to be able to become a top tier 1% entrepreneur so they can build wealth and live the dream. Now, why am I sharing this video with you? Well, look, when I started out in entrepreneurship, I was very young. I was naive and I made some very big kind of rookie mistakes, and I had to learn through trial and error. In hindsight, if I knew what I knew now, I'd be doing this 30 years ago. The thing is, when you're starting up a business, you've got blind spots in your knowledge. There's things you don't know, there's things that you don't understand. You know, you've got to choose an industry, you've got to choose a sector, you've got to choose what your hustle is going to be. And okay, if you've got some expertise in it, or you know people are doing, that's great, but you go through that learning curve. And anytime you're going to grow a business or scale a business up, there is always a steep learning curve. And I'm going to explain to you my model called the 4 phases of implementation. So we're going to jump to my laptop and I'm going to show you some slides. And I want you to stay to the very end, because what I'm going to do is break this down step by step. I'm going to give you the whole model of how you can go out and buy businesses and make money fast for little to no money down. And we're talking 6 and 7 figures here. Like, we're going to talk about fast tracking doing that. So stay through to the very end, okay? Let's jump to my laptop because I'm going to share with you the 4 phases of implementation. So this is what happens when people try to start a business venture or they try to get involved in investing something. You go through 4 phases of a learning curve, okay? And I call this the 4 phases of implementation. This is when you take a strategy and put it into practice. These are the hidden psychological and emotional blocks that people have. If you're not aware of this stuff, you'll get caught out. Statistically, within the first 3 years, most companies or new businesses fail, and this is the reason why. So the first thing is this: when people go to do something for the first time, a new strategy, a new business venture, a new side hustle, they go through what's called the euphoria phase. This is where you're pumped, you're hyped. Maybe you've gone on like a mastermind or a course, or you've got a mentor and you're hyped up because you think, wow, this is great. I'm going to be doing whatever this strategy is. Here's the problem. It gives you a false sense of confidence, a false sense of achievement. And the psychology behind that is because you have what's called unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you don't know. You then go out to the next phase, which is called the epiphany phase. This is where you go out to put things into practice and you realize it's harder than you thought. There's gaps in your knowledge and there's gaps in the industry and things that you didn't understand. So all of a sudden, you might have been top of your game in your career or your previous business. Here you are now at the bottom of a steep learning curve. It takes you out of your comfort zone. Our egos don't like it. And this is where we get faced with resistance. So what do I mean by resistance? Resistance is the stress, it's the overwhelm, it's the lacking confidence, it's that crisis of confidence, it's the lack of self-belief. It's when that negative voice in your head or the seed of doubt starts to creep in and it knocks your confidence. It's when you start to feel like an imposter, or it gets so uncomfortable because you're out your comfort zone that shiny penny syndrome kicks in and you start to either think, oh, maybe I'm not cut out for this, let me go back to my job or my previous business, or you think that this particular business or this strategy that you've chosen is the wrong one, and people bounce from strategy to strategy to strategy. But in actual fact, the challenge is them and how they're feeling about the situation. The next stage is what I call the evolution phase, which is where people break through. Now, normally, in my experience, people only break through when they've either got some mentorship or they've got someone supporting them and they can deal with the internal resistance. But at this point, you start to get some results, but the results can be mediocre, and you're kind of stuck with mediocrity, but then you hit a glass ceiling or a plateau and you can't break through. So here's what happens. This is where people get stuck and they don't get those great results. And 99% people get stuck here. The next phase is what I call the excellence phase. Now, this is where the top tier 1% entrepreneurs live, because it's an attitude, not a skill set. It's a mindset, not a skill set. The attitude of being an excellence chasing entrepreneur is someone who wants to chase excellence, but wants to be in the 1%, wants to be a top tier entrepreneur, and they think outside the box, and they have two attributes that are really important. The first thing is they have a hell or high water attitude, that they're going to do whatever it takes to get there and push past the resistance. The second thing is they've got a massive reason why. In my experience, my own successes, I've learned this model through bits of experience. It took me 10 years to get started in property. And the reason for that was because I was stuck, I was overwhelmed, I was going around in circles, and I kept on distracting myself when things got uncomfortable. I was there, I got caught up with imposter syndrome and shiny penny syndrome. That's why it took me a decade. It was only when I started to learn about psychology that I formed this 4 phases of implementation model, and I broke through it. And this is what I've been teaching other people for the last decade. So it's really important that you understand this. If you want to be in the 1%, then you've got to do what the 1% do. And the thing is, if you're going to start a business or you're going to start something from new or a side hustle, you're going to go through these 4 phases. Now, here's what I'm here to tell you. Now, I've coached and mentored hundreds of people over the years and to navigate this stuff easily, but it's still not easy, okay? Here's what I'm here to tell you. You will make money faster and quicker through buying a ready-made business where someone else has already done the blood, sweat, and tears. Someone else has already gone out there and they've figured all that stuff out. And why do people want to sell businesses now? Well, look, the biggest reason that people want to sell a business is because of retirement. So when people get to a point where they want to retire in their life, the business which once served them was a lifestyle business now becomes a hindrance to them. It becomes a prison for them, and they want to sell. And here's the thing, okay? When you compare this to property and real estate, businesses take longer to sell, but people become more motivated, okay? So this is really important. This is the difference, and this is why now I'm buying businesses, because it's way more quicker to go and buy a ready-made business that's making 6 figures. You can start putting these businesses together and have a company, or like a group of companies, a portfolio, so you can get to 7 figures quicker. So how do we do this? Now look, I've produced some previous videos on this that you can go and watch. I'll put some links up. But in essence, the model is this. You go and find a business that's up and running, that is making profit from day one, where the owner wants to retire. That's the best way of doing things. You can go and find distressed businesses and stuff like that. I wouldn't advise that. Go and buy something that's ready-made, making a profit, okay? And the motivation of the seller is retirement. The second thing is make sure there's a management team in place so that you don't have to do the management. You don't have to go and do the legwork. They can do it for you. Okay, and there's clever and creative ways of doing things. And I've produced another video, so we'll put another link up for that as well, on how to creatively structure those deals. So this is the thing. You can actually buy these businesses that are from motivated sellers that are making 6 figures for little to no money down when you know how to structure the deal. In mergers and acquisitions, there's a term called the deferred consideration. So what does that actually mean? It means buy now, pay later. Now, here's the reality. When you compare what it takes to actually buy a business that's up and running versus what it costs to start one, it costs more money to start a business from scratch than what it does to buy a business that's already up and running. And especially if you use the strategies that I teach and the strategies that I've shared in previous videos, if you do that, you can get in the game very, very cost effectively. Sometimes for no money, sometimes for little money, sometimes for using other people's money, but it's very easy to do. So if you think about it, you're going from 0 to 6 figures like that. The longest time it's going to take is to actually get the deal across the line and do the legals and things like that. The actual acquisition part could take 3 or 4 months, maybe a little bit longer. So if you look at it from a kind of cost perspective and a return on time perspective, let alone the stress perspective, you're getting into a business within 3 or 4 months that's generating you 6 figures. You're getting into a business, okay, that's going to make you 6 figures without having to put a lot of money in, because you're putting a small token payment in, and you're avoiding the stress, the overwhelm, and the pain of going through those 4 phases of implementation. So this is the thing. This is why this is the fastest way to make money in 2022. And the reason for this is there's 2 other reasons, okay? Why is now a good time to get involved with mergers and acquisitions and buying businesses? Well, there's lots of people out there that want to retire, but what's accelerated retirement has been what's gone on over the last couple of years with COVID. A lot of businesses have suffered, a lot of businesses gone through the stress, they've had sales dips, they've had just challenges because of business, and that's tired out a lot of people who want to retire anyway. It's forced a lot of people to want to retire early. So there's an abundance of businesses for sale out there right now from motivated sellers who want to sell. So this is the fastest way to build wealth, in my opinion, okay? So here's what I want you to think about, okay? If you decide to go down that route of starting a business from scratch, it's going to cost you time, it's going to cost you money, it's going to cost you a load of skill set, it's going to take you a lot longer, and there's a higher risk of failure. If you choose to go and buy a business that's ready-made, up and running, that the owner wants to retire from, within a few months and a little bit of capital, doesn't have to be a lot, sometimes in some cases, if the deal's structured the right way, zero capital, you've got in the game and you're instantly at 6 figures, maybe even 7 figures, depending on the business that you want. Now look, here's one of the things that happens, okay? When I decided to get into M&A, buying businesses, I went back to my mastermind and my property students and I said to them, look, this is what we're doing now. This is a way better way of doing things rather than the traditional way of buying real estate, which is buying stuff to add value, buying fixer-uppers, buying refurbs, because everyone is competing for that. The old model of doing things is buying properties, leaving money in and waiting for long-term capital appreciation. What I've said to my students is this is the best thing since sliced bread. Start buying businesses. Here were some of the things that they said. They said, look, you know what? This sounds too good to be true. And I said, you know what, it does sound too good to be true, but I'm doing it right now. And I'm not the only person in the world that's doing it. There's a select few handful of people that know how to do this stuff that are out buying businesses this way. The next thing they said was, I haven't got cash to buy businesses. I said, well, you don't need to have a lot of cash, okay? You just need to have the skill and knowledge, because the skill and knowledge is closing the deal. It's finding the deal, closing the deal, and doing it in favorable terms, which is something that I teach. And again, as I mentioned, there's previous videos in the channel that you want to go and check out. The next thing they said was, I don't have any industry specific knowledge. I don't know how to do scaffolding. I don't know how to do this stuff. And I said, look, when I bought my businesses, I didn't know anything about scaffolding. The thing is, there's a manager in place and a business owner that's in place that's been there for 20 years that knows everything. So I just learned from them and they're carrying on managing the business. So I don't need to know any of the day-to-day runnings. And this is the other thing that's really beautiful about doing M&A. When you buy these businesses, you don't work in the businesses unless you really want to. You work on the businesses. So you manage the managers, you manage the management team, so you can go off and have the time and the money to live your dream, live your best life. And this is one of the things that's super important. The other thing people have said to me was this, okay, you know, I don't know how to go and find these deals. I said, look, they're very simple. You can find business brokers. You can contact companies direct by either sending them letters or actually picking up the phone and calling them. The next thing they said to me was, look, how do we go and negotiate a deal? And I said, look, to negotiate a deal is pretty simple. If you know how to negotiate a property deal, then you can negotiate a business deal. And by the way, again, I've got another video that we've shot that shows you how to do that. So once I told them this stuff and they kind of got their head around it, my students are now going out buying businesses because this is the fastest way to make money in 2022. I think this is easy, it's simple, it's safe, and it's pretty much minimal risk. So much so that I've stopped buying properties in the way that I've done. And I've been doing property for 20 years. I'm only focusing on an M&A portfolio, which is a group of companies, and property has now become a secondary thing. So guys, I hope you found this useful. Now, if you want to be in the top tier of 1% entrepreneurs, you have to do what the 1% are doing. And this is a smart, efficient, safe, the path of least resistance to building wealth and making money fast. If you do what 99% of other people are doing, which is, oh, let's start a new business from scratch, let's create this thing, let's have our name on it. Yeah, you can get attached to your ego about what it's like, but the whole purpose of a business is to make profit. And if you're going to set something up and it's going to take you a year or 2 years or 3 years to get to a place that you're making profit, that's 2 or 3 years. We don't have time. Time is the most precious thing that you've got. So if you can go and buy a business that's ready-made, up and running, that is, you know, someone else has already done the blood, sweat, and tears, and it's to that point where it's up and running, then you're there. So if you do what the 99% of people do, you're going to get what 99% of people get, which is the stress and the overwhelm, being stuck, getting caught in those 4 phases of implementation. And as I mentioned earlier on, a lot of businesses fail within the first 3 years. Or you can just take the smarter move and buy a ready-made business that's making you 6 figures. You structure the deal cleverly, so you're paying it off in installments. You don't have to use a lot of capital. You can pay yourself from that. You can fund your lifestyle. And with a surplus income, you can then use that to invest in other assets or property or crypto or Forex or whatever else it is. Ultimately, this will help you to make money fast so you can build wealth and live the dream. Guys, I hope you found this useful. So listen, here's what I'm going to suggest that you do. Come and join our Facebook group. If you want to be in our top tier 1% Facebook group, there'll be a link around this video. Come and join us in there. Also, if you want to learn more about this, then book a call with me and my team, because we'll have some trainings and we're having a mastermind that we're putting together, so you can come and join that if that's something you're interested in and if it's the right thing for you. Also, I'd like you to like, subscribe and comment and put your questions in the comment sections below. If there's anything you want to know, anything you want to ask, or anything you've done, share your experiences of building businesses. If you're in a place right now where you're stressed, you're overwhelmed, you're struggling, you want to make money fast and you're not sure what to do, let us know what's going on for you. Let us know what's worked, what's not worked for you, and how we can help you, okay? So like, subscribe, and comment. Guys, I hope you found this video useful. Go out and buy businesses, make money fast, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.